live sector is known as one of the fastest growing sectors in the music industry. Most artists are now making more money from live appearances than they do from record sales. Some reasons for this growth is the increase in sponsorship by global brands such as mobile phone services like O2 or Vodafone, or alcohol companies such as Carling or Tennent's. This, alongside the fact that it's now much easier and cheaper to promote gigs, is making the live sector a rapidly expanding industry in its own right. The concert promoter could be anything from one person in their bedroom putting together DIY gigs to huge companies such as DF or Live Nation, who have the power to put together gigs in very large venues or even stadiums. Their job is to negotiate with venues and sell tickets. They also have to sort out a contract either with artists directly or the artist booking company or their manager as to a fee and other conditions such as food and accommodation. Booking agents are essentially the people that book tours, gigs and festivals. They will generally take 10 to 20% of the gross income. A tour manager works on behalf of the artist. They make sure everything from fees to accommodation is taken care of on tour. Merchandisers will work on behalf of the band to sell merchandise at gigs, such as t-shirts, stickers and posters. The crew on a large-scale show will include roadies who will load in the equipment and set it up, as well as sound and lighting engineers to deal with the light show and ensuring the sound, both on stage and off stage, is perfect during the show.
It was kind of accidental actually. I started off just doing a couple of different gigs at Captain's Rest and places like that, kind of smaller places around Glasgow. And then I actually booked a show a couple of years ago at a place called Brel, where a guy called Robin Martin works, and he owns that place and he works as a licensing lawyer in Glasgow and knows kind of all the major venues and stuff, and he was really the guy that I began to make my most kind of contacts through and things. So basically started working as a booker at Brel. Off the back of that I got a job at Twisted Wheel, which he also owns. Really just kept working like that, got a couple of weeks here and there doing tour management. It's really just about meeting people and networking, and it kind of just snowballs. I think the more you do, the more work you get offered. Again, for me it was kind of more accidental. I didn't really plan on doing it, but if I was to say to someone like, this is how you go about getting a job in promoting, all I would say is just get to know the industry really well, understand who the key players are in the industry and the key companies, get to know key people, just basically network. All I would say is just put shows on. You're as good as the last show you put on, so just try and make a name for yourself by actually putting events together and just doing things practically. Good music. I think organisation, which is something that never really comes into play at the end of the day, no matter how hard you try and forward plan things. I suppose really just a bit of atmosphere, kind of a bit of care with regards to how you book the bill, like making sure that you put people on who actually match each other and complement each other. I think promoting it well and making sure you book people who actually bring people with them is really great. I think it's the worst thing in the world when a band are really great but they're playing to only 3 people. So yeah, good music, good organisation. I think the better question there is what can't go wrong with a gig. I've had pretty much everything you can possibly think of. Council noise complaints causing venues to close down the day before, band members breaking legs and not being able to play. Last night I put a show on and there was a flood in the venue, which was awesome but didn't actually slow anything down. So really I think it's just a case of risk assessing things, making sure that if something's going to go wrong that you've got a backup plan, that you have plenty of contacts. So if someone pulls out, for example, you know a couple of other people that can maybe fill in. I think with regards to the kind of legal side of things, obviously there's a lot of risk assessment involved in working in a bigger venue and stuff, and you've got to do a lot of that as well, and just make sure that everything you're putting together, especially in relation to the technical side of things, is legal and like all the electrical stuff's safe, and just basically make sure everyone's safe. Yeah. I think the main kind of things to really avoid when you're putting on a gig are, I suppose, just bad promotion. Make sure that you do the work, that you get in contact with as many people as possible, and really put the gig out there. At the end of the day, it's kind of your responsibility to make sure that the numbers are coming in. At the same time, I think it's also really important to maintain communication with bands and kind of make sure that they're putting the gig out there and that they're getting it out on their social networks, things like that. Just making sure that their fans know they're playing. I think the key to really avoiding anything going wrong in a gig is just to plan it down to the very last minute. I mean, pretty much everyone I know who's involved in events, kind of at a more professional level, is really into their details and kind of likes to plan everything out exactly and keep track of all your kind of financial records and things like that. So yeah, for me it's just about making sure you plan everything in advance. Obviously with events, timing is the most important thing. You've got to make sure that you're going to be closed by curfew, so in order to do that you've got to factor in things like getting the crowd out and stuff. So a lot of the time it's really just about working backwards and putting a really kind of finite plan together for each event. I don't think it's affected the live sector as much as it's affected a lot of the other music industry sectors, particularly recordings, obviously. I think we're the one kind of industry that are going to survive no matter what, because there's not really anything quite like a real live experience, obviously. But I think on a more kind of positive side, the internet's obviously helped promotion through things like social networking sites, Facebook and all that. They're a really, really kind of powerful tool for promoting events and making sure people actually know about them and can chat about them afterwards and stuff. I think the whole kind of advent of film technology and things as well is really great. The idea that almost anyone nowadays can kind of go away and buy quite a cheap camera that actually produces really kind of high quality video. I mean, people like Glasgow Podcart and projects like that can just go away and actually put videos together to quite a high quality and promote events online as well as in the room.